Ladies and gentlemen, picture this. It's the 1860s. America is at war with itself, and the cracks in society are wide enough to swallow people whole, especially if you're Black, Native American, and a woman. In the midst of all this chaos, a young woman named Edmonia Lewis dared to do the impossible. She didn't just survive, she fought back, and she carved a legacy out of a world that wanted her silent. But her journey wasn't one of triumph from the start. It was a battle laced with danger, injustice, and suspense at every turn. Edmonia's story begins quietly enough. Born in 1844 to a Black father and a Native American mother, her early life was a mix of survival and resilience. Orphaned at the age of 9, she was raised by her mother's Chippewa relatives, where she learned the traditions of her ancestors. But from a young age, it was clear Edmonia wasn't destined for a quiet life. She had ambition, fire, and the audacity to dream bigger than the world allowed for someone like her. And when she was accepted into Oberlin College, a place that prided itself on being progressive, it felt like the first step toward a brighter future. But Oberlin wasn't the sanctuary it claimed to be. Beneath the surface of its ideals lay something darker, something waiting to strike. It started with whispers. A young Black woman on campus, walking the same halls as white men and women. To some it was unthinkable. The tension grew day by day, until one fateful evening when Edmonia offered her classmates a drink of spiced wine. The next morning everything changed. Her classmates fell ill, and the rumors began. "Poison," they said. "She did it." No evidence, no proof, just the word of two sick white women against Edmonia. It didn't matter that the accusations made no sense. For the townspeople, it was the perfect excuse to unleash their hatred. One night it boiled over. A mob surrounded Edmonia. They dragged her from safety and beat her until she was barely alive, leaving her bloodied and broken on the cold ground. Most people would have disappeared after that, retreating into the shadows to avoid further pain. But not Edmonia. Bruised but defiant, she decided to fight. She took her case to court, standing alone in front of a system built to destroy her. The trial was tense. Every eye in the room was fixed on her, and the air was thick with judgment. Would the judge side with her, or would this be the moment when the world snuffed her out completely? And then, against all odds, the verdict came. Not guilty, but freedom came at a cost. The mob, the trial, the whispers, it was too much. Oberlin wasn't just a place of education anymore. It was a place of pain. Edmonia left, her dreams of finishing college crushed. But her story didn't end there. In fact, it was only just beginning. Boston became her next battleground, a city buzzing with abolitionist fervor. Here, Edmonia discovered sculpture, an art form where she could control every detail, where she could carve a world that didn't seek to destroy her. Without formal training, she taught herself, chiseling her pain, her hope, and her fury into marble. It was here she caught the attention of abolitionist leaders like Frederick Douglass and Lydia Maria Child. Her busts of famous figures brought her into their circles, earning her commissions and enough money to escape the suffocating confines of America. She set her sights on Rome, a place that promised artistic freedom and anonymity. But even as she boarded the ship, she must have known she wasn't leaving her struggles behind. Rome was everything she had dreamed of. The city was alive with art and history, and for the first time, she could breathe without the constant weight of racism pressing down on her shoulders. Edmonia joined a group of expatriate women artists, and together they carved out a space in a world that didn't want them. Her sculptures became bold, unapologetic statements. Forever Free, her masterpiece, depicted a Black man and woman breaking their chains, their faces lifted toward the light. It wasn't just a work of art, it was a battle cry, a declaration that freedom could not be denied. But even in Rome, whispers followed her. Critics doubted her skill, claiming she couldn't possibly create such intricate works on her own. They spread rumors, questioning how a Black woman could master the techniques that even seasoned white artists struggled with. Edmonia didn't waste her time arguing. She let her work speak, and speak it did. By the 1870s, her sculptures were being exhibited around the world, her name whispered with awe and respect. She had become the first woman of African American and Native American descent to achieve international fame as a sculptor. But just as her star was rising, Edmonia began to retreat from the spotlight. Why? Some say it was the changing tides of the art world. Others believe it was the toll of constantly proving herself, of fighting a battle that never truly ended. Her later years are shrouded in mystery, her name fading from public memory. But her sculptures remained hidden in plain sight, waiting for the world to remember her genius. Today, her story has resurfaced, as all great stories eventually do. Her sculptures, once doubted and dismissed, are now celebrated in museums and galleries around the globe. But let me leave you with this thought. Edmonia Lewis's life wasn't just a tale of survival. It was a thriller, a suspense-filled journey through the shadows of injustice and into the light of triumph. She didn't just create art, she created a legacy. And like the figures in Forever Free, she broke her chains, refusing to let the world define her. That is the legacy she leaves us. A reminder that even in the face of impossible odds, we have the power to carve out our own destiny. Edmonia Lewis's life teaches us that destiny isn't handed to us. It's something we carve out, often with blood, sweat, and tears. Her story doesn't end with the sculptures she left behind or the fame she achieved in her lifetime. It lives on as a reminder of what it means to fight, to rise, and to leave a mark so profound that time cannot erase it. Edmonia faced battles most of us cannot imagine. Being accused of crimes without evidence, enduring violent attacks, and navigating a world that doubted her every move simply because of who she was. Yet she persisted. She refused to let the pain, the whispers, or the prejudices define her. Instead, she chose to define herself, to take control of her narrative, and to create something that no one could deny. What can we learn from Edmonia Lewis? First, her life reminds us of the power of resilience. When the mob beat her, when the court judged her, and when society tried to push her out, she refused to stay down. She turned her pain into fuel, her setbacks into stepping stones. How often do we let challenges stop us in our tracks? Edmonia's story urges us to see obstacles as opportunities, to keep moving forward even when the world says no. Second, Edmonia's story shows us the importance of claiming our space. She didn't wait for the world to give her permission to exist as an artist, a woman, or a voice for her people. She took her place in history, unapologetically and with immense courage. In a society that often tries to shrink us, her story reminds us to take up space, to demand to be seen, and to refuse to be erased. Finally, Edmonia teaches us about legacy. Her sculptures, her defiance, and her triumphs are a testament to what it means to leave something behind that speaks for itself. Long after her voice was silenced, her art continues to tell her story. And that's the ultimate lesson. What we create, what we fight for, and how we live has the power to inspire others long after we're gone. Edmonia Lewis carved her destiny in stone, defying the limits placed upon her at every turn. Her story challenges us to ask ourselves, what will we carve with the tools we've been given? How will we defy the odds and create a legacy that outlasts us? Her life isn't just a chapter in history. It's a call to action, a call to persevere when it's hard, to stand tall when it's easier to shrink, and to believe in the power of our own hands to shape the future. Edmonia Lewis is proof that greatness isn't about where you start. It's about how fiercely you fight to finish. Her story is ours to learn from, and her legacy is ours to carry forward.